Welcome to the channel. My name is Michael. Now, there are some cons to owning an electric car. Well, not some, there's actually a lot. First of all, cost. We look at the comparative cost between, let's say even a hybrid. You know, I drive hybrids. Well, if you don't know, check it out. Owning an electric car is much more expensive up front when you own an electric car. So let's take what I paid for my hybrid versus the gasoline equivalent. And as you can see, the upfront cost is much more. So you're going to have higher monthly payments and you're going to have, well, higher insurance costs. We'll get to that. Potential for battery replacement. Now, I don't think that's really a worry that most people it never really comes to fruition for most people, the battery replacement. But if you're one of them people, then that's going to be a very expensive battery replacement, upwards to what, $20,000 just for the battery. So you have to understand these things before you consider getting an electric car. This is why for the past 6 years, I've gone with Toyota hybrids and not gone full electric. Insurance costs. I pay around whatever that says there. And when I went to do a Model Y long range dual motor, this is the quote I got. All right. So in other words, you're going to, and this is the quote I got. So your insurance premiums could double per month. All right. Double. So if you're paying $200, you'll be paying $400 or some percentage in between. But the insurance cost could make owning an electric car not affordable. Registration fees. So you could end up paying, like every state has their own laws, but you could end up paying even on hybrids too, because Delaware just added a tax onto EVs or alternative fuel vehicles, even though the hybrid portion of it is only used very minimally, mainly in low speeds and for assistance. So you're paying a higher tax when you register your vehicle with hybrids, and you're paying a higher tax with full electric vehicles. So anywhere from $100 to $300. It may even exceed that, but it's the fees. The fees are going to get you up front. All right. Well, and per year or whatever interval you register your vehicle. So consider this before you buy or invest into an electric vehicle. What I'm hearing and seeing is, oh, just lease the vehicle. All right. Now you still got to pay certain fees, but you won't be stuck with it before it's all said and done. Charging time and infrastructure. Meaning you're going to be waiting 15 to 30 minutes to charge your electric vehicle, even if it's a fast charge. So if you drive a lot, now it depends on your lifestyle or how you work. If you're like me, I drive a lot. I used to drive, them 700 miles a day going from Philly to New York to Virginia and then back to Philly again on the same day. Then I pretty much stayed in Pennsylvania, just doing like from Philly suburbs to the west around the Susquehanna River, then going back to Philadelphia, Delaware area. So now, if I'm doing that every day, I don't think, well, doing the Pennsylvania route, I probably could survive with an electric car, but I would get annoyed having to charge for 15 minutes. Now, if I was doing the 700 mile thing, I couldn't be able to get it done and get the route. Well, if I had to get it done, I would get it done, but it would be so inconvenient. I'll be waiting for at least an hour a day just charging. So I'm not going to keep nitpicking, go 70 miles and then charge again. No, I want to get home. If I'm driving 14 hours a day, I want to do one charge or one fuel up and get home. And that's what I would do with my RAV4. Well, with the Corolla. I didn't do the Virginia runs with the RAV4, but with the Corolla, I was doing my Virginia runs. Cold weather, okay? Cold weather can reduce your range by 20, 30%, all right? Imagine you charge your electric vehicle, and first of all, it's harder to take a charge when the battery temperature is not right. Now, they do have like battery warmers, but you can fully charge your car the night before, and then the next morning your battery's more drained because of the temperature. All right, so that's incredibly annoying. At least with liquid fuel, you can put your, or on-demand electric, which would be better, a hydrogen fuel cell, on-demand electric. So with liquid fuel, you can just put it in the gas tank and the energy is still retained within the fuel, within the petrol. But with electric, the 20, I've seen 40% drains on some charts and doing my research. 40%, that's insane. Okay, so consider this before you get an electric vehicle. If you live in a cold weather climate like in the Northeast, where I live, I'm in Philly right now. All right, and I currently live in Philadelphia. I moved back to Philly from a city in Delaware. I don't want to wake up to go at nighttime. I got done my work, doing whatever I was doing, my errands. I charge it up to 85%, and I wake up to 72%. That's crazy. All right. Consider this before getting an electric car. Faster depreciation. Faster depreciation. So if you're into trading cars in, I run my cars until they get, 500,000 miles. Almost made it with the Corolla before I gave it away. But if you're into trading your cars in, you can lose up to 50% of your value within the first 3 years. Okay? 50%, 40%, 30%. All right? More than traditional gasoline cars. Electric cars don't hold their value. So if you're concerned about a vehicle holding its value so you can trade it in or sell it, it's not going to retain its value. For whatever reason that is, it's not going to retain its value. So if you want to trade your car in, even for another electric car, okay, you're going to get what the car is worth to trade your car in. So consider this before you get an electric vehicle. Repair complexity. Repair complexity. I work on my own car. Now, I don't do everything, but I do all the normal maintenance. I'm not going to rebuild the engine or drop a transmission. Right? So the complexity, if you're not trained to work on EVs, there's certain things you have to do, certain safety precautions you have to do before you can work on your electric vehicle. And the knowledge is not that well known. Now you can look things up, but most people are not used to electric cars. The regular DIYer that you'll see working at an AutoZone parking lot or working on the street on the side of the road, they practically don't know anything about electric cars. So you definitely don't want to pay a crackhead down the street to work on your electric car. All right, or pay somebody that's really good on cars to work on your electric car. They're going to F something up. So DIY becomes it's a very small market with electric vehicles with DIY. So you have to consider this. You can't just take your car to anybody. Now, you shouldn't really be doing that with gasoline cars either, but at least you can get away with it most of the time, depending on your experience. You can get away with it, all right, and not totally destroy your car, or they can do the repair the correct way, all right? But with electric vehicle, you can't take your car to anybody but someone that's trained on working on an electric vehicle, or take it to Tesla or Toyota or whoever, Hyundai, whoever manufactured your electric car. Availability of charging stations relative to gasoline. I looked up some numbers. I believe it's like fast charge I'm talking about, like 9,000 to 100,000. The 9,000 would be the fast charging, and the gasoline would be 100,000. So the availability to charge your electric vehicle is much more limited. Now, you can pretty much, if you live in a major metropolitan area like up here in the Northeast, you'll be able to charge your car, all right? But if you're in areas where a lot of people have electric cars, you could be possibly fighting for parking or fighting for charging stations to charge your electric car. So now around in the Philly area, in the Philly suburbs, we have a lot of Wawas that have electric charging stations. So, and most of them I don't see overcrowded. Now that's just the times I'm noticing them, but most of the time I don't see like the Wawas overran with Teslas. And we have a few rest stops on 95, or at least one that I know of. I think the Joe Biden rest stop, they have Tesla chargers. So now, I don't know if they're compatible with other chargers, maybe an adapter on there or something, and they may have other charging stations there, but the charging infrastructure is nowhere near as numerous as gasoline charging stations. But again, if you live in a major metropolitan area, you shouldn't have any problems charging your car. Now, on the West Coast, I think it's maybe different. I have heard nightmare stories of people waiting upwards to an hour to charge their Tesla. So that may be in a certain area, but consider that. Gas station, well, you'll run into that with gas stations too, but you can always go to another gas station, and it's nowhere near as concerning as waiting to charge your electric car, because I can get a gas tank and put liquid fuel in my RAV4 or in the Corolla or in any car that runs internal combustion. But electric car, you can't do that. You gotta get the car towed. All right, so consider this before you purchase an electric vehicle. Now, how I feel about electric cars versus gasoline cars or hybrids, the main reason I like electric cars is because no oil changes and no spark plugs. That's pretty much the only thing. And well, the technology, I like the especially I'm more from a Tesla perspective. I like the LCD display. I like how you can access the car remotely through an app. Now, you can do this with gasoline cars too. Tesla seems to have more features, and here are the features you can access remotely. All right, now there may be a gasoline equivalent where we have similar features or the same features. Just do your research. But these are the features that Tesla has that you can what you can do. You can access your car remotely. Now, on the Toyota, when I first got the car, on this one that I'm sitting in now, I had access to. On a hybrid, you can't start the car remotely. You can only do that on a gasoline version. So that's a little annoying. I don't know why that is. It may have something to do with the not having a starter motor or something like that. Not sure. But you cannot start the car remotely if you have a Toyota hybrid. All right. But you can unlock the doors. That's the only thing I ever used the app for, the Toyota app, was to unlock the doors and lock the doors remotely. So those are the features with the Toyota. With the Tesla, you can, well, what possibly can you do? Start or preheat the car, and you can do the summon. You can use a summon feature, which I wouldn't use if I had a Tesla. I really wouldn't use the summon feature, but I think that's all you would do. I mean, what else could you do remotely? What else would you want to do remotely? Besides pre-cool, preheat the car, lock and unlock the doors, and summon. If you know, write in the comment section. So additionally, how I feel about electric cars is the no oil changes. Now, this is coming from the perspective of a person that had to do oil changes every 3 weeks. Then I stopped doing them every 3 weeks, and I just did every month in a week. Because I was driving so much, 700 miles a day. Oil changes were coming up around every 3 weeks to a month. So that I'm coming from that perspective. Like, okay, I don't want to do oil changes anymore. And remember, I'm doing my own maintenance because I'm keeping the Corolla on the road, 5 days a week. So I'm doing these oil changes myself because I don't want to take it to anybody and lose time. That's the perspective. So I'm worn out with doing oil changes. Okay, I've done too many oil changes. All right. Then you got the spark plugs, and it was like fuel filter, air filter, cabin filter. You got the gear oil for the rear motor, which is just like an assistance motor for the RAV4 because it's all-wheel drive. And then you have the transmission up front on both the Corolla and the RAV4, that's automatic transmission fluid. Environmental trade-offs, nickel, cobalt, lithium. So to produce an electric vehicle, if you care about the environment, to produce an electric vehicle creates more pollution up front. Now, you have zero emissions while the car is driving, but it creates more emissions up front. So if you actually care about the environment, and that's the actual reason why you're getting a Tesla, then don't get a Tesla, don't get an electric car, because it's going to create either the same amount of pollution or more pollution because of the manufacturing of the battery. So get the electric car because you actually like the manufacturer, you like the technology, and you don't want to do oil changes or spark plugs anymore. Get it because of that. Don't get it because of the environment, because it's polluting the same or more. All right, update on the RAV4. Okay, RAV4, we're at, where we at? 131,705. 131,705 miles on the RAV4. So she's still no issues. No issues. So if you're thinking about buying a RAV4 hybrid, I would pull the trigger on that. Well, again, you got to make sure your credit and the interest rate on your vehicle. So be mindful of that, all right? But if you're about to pull the trigger on a car or, well, on an SUV, all right? Because I need more space now. I can't really go back to a compact sedan anymore. The only like sedan type car I would get in the future, it would probably be more luxury or sporty. Probably more sporty, but, or it would be an all-electric car. But no, if I were to get an electric car, it would be a Model Y or a Model X. But again, not again, but to me, the Tesla, these electric vehicles, they're more like luxury vehicles to me. So I'm not going to make the investment unless I have luxury money.